Hello everyone, this is Diane and I'm here to show you 3 completed Victorian journals. They are one signature, so they're obviously not as big as the normal ones that I do. They are made with cardstock and fabric and lace on the covers. So I'm going to show you my mother's first. This one is hers. My mother wanted a Victorian journal, and I decided to make it for her for Mother's Day. So I used purple cardstock, which is her favorite color, and she loved the Victorian theme, so that's why I did that. And this is a piece of fabric. You'll see lots of pieces of this fabric with the pink background, and it had silver and gold and flowers. Well, these flowers came on the fabric. So this is a gold crown. This is Queen Victoria. So it has Victoria at different stages of her life. And this is some sari fabric and some eyelet. And then, of course, I just used this large piece of lace to cover the whole thing. And I put one of these little charms with a purple bulb pin just on there. And on the back, the butterfly and this Victoria image is from the same fabric, piece of lace. And I tied it with seam binding. Only one journal did I remember to sew the seam binding on when I sewed the backing on. So the other two I had to sew it on afterwards, and then I glued a little circle on to hide the end. I made a little pocket out of some patterned cardstock and some vintage lace. And this came with the kit that I used, which is Victorian Parlor by Screech Owl Studios, and this came with the kit this journal belongs to. This is from something I've had for a while. I have a whole bunch of digitals in here. I'm not going to try to remember them all. This is an actual French postcard. It does not have a date on it. I ordered it. It's written in French. I ordered it from Eve at the Snippet Shop, and she's in Switzerland. I love these. So each one got a vintage lady on a French postcard in the pocket. So we have some scrapbook paper that looks like hydrangea blossom, I guess. Look, it's a photograph, and it's really pretty colors. And I cut this shape out of purple lavender cardstock and then cut her out. She's a Pinterest image. And this is just something from another kit that I had extras of. There's just a tag that I've had, and I inked everything up on the back. And this is from Victorian Parlor kit. The pages for Victorian Parlor are small. This is one of the pages. So I just slipped them in between the larger pages. I could have made the journal this small. Since I'm just using cardstock, I could have cut it to whatever size I wanted. But I didn't want my mother to feel like she was getting gypped because she's getting a small journal. She loves to look at my journals. She doesn't actually keep a journal, but she wanted one. And I wanted her to feel like she was getting something, you know, not just a little throwaway small thing. Not that this paper means it would be a throwaway, but you know, I would love a small little journal. I think they're cute and adorable, but I just wanted Mom to feel like she's getting her money's worth, so to speak. She's not paying for it. I don't know if I just made any sense at all. There's a Victorian ladies playing card, which I thought was so cute for this journal. A couple of more items from the kit, and this little pocket is from the kit. I glued on this little bit of lace, and this is, I will tell you this, I mentioned it yesterday, it's a Victorian calling card image from tailor-made journals, and you get 10 sheets of calling cards that you can cut out and use. Look at that little kitten. So they're awesome. I love them. So I wanted to make sure I let you know where you could find those. Okay, so this is a Stampin' Up! Stamp here with a doily, and then this is one of the, it's a stamp I've had for a long time. I forgot the designer's name. I knew it the other day when I used the stamp. A doily that I painted with colors with my distress sprays. I got this doily from Denise at A Tattered Dream. She sent it to me with an order that I just made recently. There's a pretty piece of lined paper and one of the calling cards with this pretty shoe on it. I did some stenciling on this page. This is just a little sheet of paper that came in a bundle that I picked up at a flea market. It's got a really nice texture. I glued this on it as a little bit of a tab, and then this playing card, I can stick something in there. Here's a fabric flip with a piece of that pink fabric and a piece of lace, and this is part of a linen doily, or not a doily, but a dresser scarf or something. Vintage music paper, and I put washi tape on it to kind of reinforce the edge. I put a strip of scrapbook paper to reinforce it for through the stitching, and then I just put this little journaling card on it. This is an envelope, was a printable. I printed it out on cardstock, and I've had it in my stash for a while, so I don't know where I got this. It might have been a free one, I don't know. But I included a couple of things inside for writing on. I just put a paper clip on it to kind of hold the flap down, because it's cardstock, so it's stiff and it wants to stick up. And I just stuck a little tag on the other side of that paper clip. Here's a printable. This one came from Pinterest. And I made this pocket with some lavender ribbon and lace on it, and a little piece of lace. There's a label, and this came with this kit. And there's a very beautiful card to write on. My mother loves paper dolls, so I thought this was great, a Victorian paper doll to stick in there. And then one of the collaged envelopes. I did one of these envelopes on a video. So this is one I just did this morning. And I just put this little card in there. I glued this piece to a piece of cream colored cardstock, so you can see her through the window. I love this. This is from Antique Papery. I just ordered this, and it was $1 for a sheet of these Victorian houses. So pretty. So each journal got one of those. The belly band came with the kit, and I added this image and this Victorian advertisement complexion powder. I put the belly band on purple cardstock to make it sturdy. Here's some more of the doilies that I stamped. And a glassine bag with this lady that I cut out. She's from Pinterest. I just searched for Victorian ladies or Victorian paper dolls, and you get a bunch of images like that. I used a couple of the calling cards on this tag that I made. You can write on the back, even though there's stitching on it. You can just write some cool stuff in between the stitching. And on the back, I made another cardstock pocket with some of the vintage lace, another card tucked in there, and then this fan, which was also from Antique Papery. And I didn't do anything fancy. Like I said yesterday, you could add lace to the tops, and you could put ribbon on the back to keep them from spreading out too far. You could put a tassel on the bottom, use a fancier brad or whatever. But I just kept it very, very simple. You can write on these pieces. I didn't ink them because they're printed on ivory cardstock. So I just thought that was a cute addition. So that's my mom's. Let me show you the two that will be in my shop. I'm getting warm, so I'm taking off my sweater. So I'm going to call this one the pink one, Pink Victorian. Actually, she looks more like Elizabethan, this lady that was on the fabric. There's the back with some fabric pieces and some lace pieces and one of the charms. A little bit from a wedding dress with some pearls on it and sequins. This fabric flower bunch came from this same fabric. Pink seam binding. And this is the one nope, it's not the one I remembered. I have to glue the circles on to cover those up. So there's another pocket with cardstock and some vintage lace. The lace is stained because it is old, but I washed it. It's clean. I hand washed it. And there's another one of the Victorian French cards. This is 1988. $18.88. 1888. There's a label up there, and this is, I know this one is from Ephemera's Vintage Garden. So I did another shape here, cut with my Cricut, or my Big Shot, out of pink cardstock, and this lady I cut out, and some antique music paper, and a little sprig that I cut out, and a couple of images tucked in. Some lace on the edge. I used the same paper line. I printed the paper collection once and spread it out over all three, but there's only one signature. It's like I would have done one book with 3 signatures. 1, 2, I was going to count the pages. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages plus the envelope. There's some cards in here. This is one of the Victorian calling cards. There's a bunch of these that have book text behind and a Victorian lady, and they're in black and cream. Those are from the old design shop. I want to mention that because I am on her design team, although this is not a design team project. There's the embossed doily that I did with the distress sprays and distress ink. There's another calling card with the Victorian shoe, and just a piece I glued on here to write on. A fabric flip. Vintage music paper. You can write on this. It's reinforced with washi tape again. I love this one. This was also from Pinterest, and I fussy cut it and glued it on that paper. There's another one of those envelopes printed on cardstock, and I'm not sure where I got this. This might have been a freebie from one of the groups that I'm in. 1990. Oh, 1900. So this is just the beginning of the Edwardian age. Which was right after Victorian age. There's another of the old design shop images. This one has a die-cut butterfly that someone just sent to me. There's pink cardstock and some sheer lace there. I love this paper. Another advertisement, printable, and a printable, and then a decoupaged or collaged envelope. Now I wanted to say I got the window envelopes. This was what I ordered from A Tattered Dream, and then she sent me those doilies as a thank you. Got glue on my thumb. But I really wanted to play with these window envelopes, so I inked around them and then just tore bits of paper and glued them on. And I put some cards in there so that a pretty lady shows through the window. Here's another of the Victorian houses. Like that pretty little lady, and there's some of the calling cards. Oh, I think I've got to add these pieces to the other two tags. It's a bulb pin with a little piece of heart-shaped lace. I'll make sure I put those on here as soon as I'm done with the video. Another fan and another card or envelope. This one I glued. The other ones I didn't glue because you can just open them up and write on them. So I have to add those things, and I have to glue the circles to this. Other than that, I think they're all done. And here's the other one. This one will be the lavender, I guess. It's got purple cardstock, and you can kind of see a hint. I'll call it the white. This is the white Victorian, and this is the pink Victorian. So there's Queen Victoria with some roses and some lace and a little charm, some sari fabric. This is a piece of fabric, and this is fabric, and some bits of lace. And I sewed some pink trim to the top. This is the one I sewed the seam binding underneath. Isn't that a beautiful fabric? And this is a vintage fabric. I love that. There's a pretty green label. That came from Rachel at Roxy Creations. I love her labels. She has a set of green and purple, so that's where I got that from. And here's one of the postcards. It's got a stamp on the front. I still don't see a date. There's a Victorian playing card. I love this picture. This came with the kit. Ladies having tea. And there's one of the round doilies from Denise's shop. This is one of the calling cards. This was on the calling card sheet also. There's an envelope. This one's a printable, a different printable than the other ones, and I printed it on a nice thick paper. It's not cardstock. And there's an advertisement. I think that one was on the back of the envelope, on the back of the paper clip. Here's a calling card. This is one of the larger ones, and this library card. It says Paris 1891, and here is the final collaged window envelope. There's a little piece of lace there. There's the Victorian house. Isn't that so gorgeous? I wouldn't want to have to clean it. There's a belly band with a journaling card and a really pretty card from the kit. It says Victorian Parlor on it. I'll show you the images. So pretty. Yeah, this one doesn't have the bulb pin and the lace. I think two of them are missing that. So this pocket has a journaling card, the fan, and the envelope that's not sealed. And there we have it. The white Victorian and the pink Victorian will be in my shop tomorrow, Friday. Just want to check the date. May 10th. Today's Thursday, right? Yeah. So tomorrow, Friday, May 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that I'm going to be home at that time. So, if I don't see you before Sunday, have a happy Mother's Day, everybody. And I hope that you'll come on over to the shop and check these books out and see what else is in my shop. I'm going to link it below here. And 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.